Okay, is this thing on? Okay, all right.
Testing.
I think we're back.
1, 2.
Testing. Is this thing on? Okay, all right. I think we're rolling, guys. All right, welcome back, guys. It's the American Lunchbox Podcast. Welcome back. This is episode 6. What's going on, guys?
What up?
Nothing much.
Oh man, it's good to see you guys. So much going on this week.
Yeah.
But first of all, I want to let the folks know out there in podcast land and YouTube land and wherever you may be seeing this particular broadcast, we want to say thank you for showing up. And also, too, we want to thank those of you guys who are listening for the first time. And obviously, those guys who come back and keep listening to us because we're just so good to you guys. Thank you guys for support, and we appreciate it immensely.
What the hell are you thinking? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, exactly. Why us? Why the hell do you
send your questions and comments to American Lunchbox Podcast?
There you go, at gmail.com. But listen, okay, so if you guys don't know, this is right over here is Chris.
Hello.
Chris is the fun guy who constantly gets on my nerves, but I still listen to him. And this is Tim.
Greetings and salutations.
Oh, Tim. Tim is the neutral but not so neutral independent dude that always got something to say at the very end that makes the show go longer. But in any event, and I am Battle, because for the last 4 shows I have not introduced myself. But
who is that guy?
Yeah, I'm Battle. People call me George, but that's another story. I like to be called Battle, but these guys that keep calling me George anyway, I don't really care. But anyway, we got a great show for you guys. This is episode 06, and episode 6, right? Episode 6 for people who like badges for. Badges for podcast numbers, which has been a great discussion amongst us. So I
was about to bring that up, but I was like, nah, let's not.
We're gonna stick with the traditional episode 6. You may have heard me say a few things in the past, but we're gonna keep it traditional because these guys are traditional conformist kind of guys.
No, so, I got a good idea. Next week we'll do the winter special. Now that it's cooking hot out.
There you go.
Just to be a little different.
That's it. Because it's been 100 degrees in Los Angeles for like 15 days straight. So and humid. So we in Los Angeles are suffering major. But anyway, let's get into the show, guys. First of all, how was your guys' week, by the way? How did everything go this week? Any crazy shit happen to you guys this week?
I've been from my outfit. I don't know if you could tell. I'm in full vacation mode.
Oh, nice.
Got my mom out here, and we've been doing all sorts of fun activities, outdoorsy activities, because there's not much you can do indoors. So suntan lotion was a must, and there were times where it was like, wow, we're baking, but we can't go indoors anywhere, or there's no real indoor entertainment. So I did a bunch of cool things I never would have expected, like renting a motorboat. Going to the Santa Monica Pier.
Nice.
And getting tandem bicycles and doing the bike trail, or finding all the little hikes that are in my area that I only heard rumors about before this. Ran across a rattlesnake and an orb weaver spider, and then saw a dog and got freaked out it was a wolf, but I'm okay.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Well, damn, you kind of worked out your mom while she was here.
There was no other way to do it. I mean, there was times where we're like, hey, want to go see a movie? Oh, we can't. Want to go here? Oh, right. We can't do that either.
I see.
So we tried it for like movie, quote unquote, movie night. We just made popcorn and ordered movies in and stuff like that. But if you're going outside, it's kind of like you're staying outside.
Yeah.
Weird vacation, but kind of fun.
Well, I know that, and I've always applauded you about being from the East Coast, but making a point, of course, to bring your family out to the West. I think I've always applauded you, and you've always made sure, because I know that whether you want to say it or not, I know how much you love the cold weather in New York, and how you just. Okay, that was a joke, you guys. He hates the cold weather, and that's why he's in Los Angeles, and he lives in Venice. Okay, Tim, what's going on with you, brother?
Oh, not a lot, working, doing this, doing that. Celebrated my 6th wedding anniversary this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Shout out to my wife, Susan,
Yeah.
Shout out to Susan. Dealing with your ass for 6 years.
I know. We haven't killed each other yet. It's all right.
Yeah, these are possibilities. So the verdict is still out.
Right. Shout out to her. She helps support the show, and when I mean support the show, she tolerates it. She leaves the house when I do this, so that's supporting the show. So
you'd literally have to shout out the window to give her the shout out.
Yeah, literally, quite literally. But yeah, we had my wife ordered takeout from BJ's, so that was nice, and it arrived cold because they used Grubhub, and Grubhub sucks. So it took an hour to deliver something that should have taken 10 minutes. So that was nice, but we got it for free. So hey, I'll take $100 meal for free.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you and your wife, brother.
Oh, thank you.
I remember when you guys got married, and again, it's always good to celebrate, couples. Man, I'm a big proponent of making sure that we always put love first. So good for you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
not to shit on Tim's story, but
oh please,
while you were ordering Grubhub, I was riding a speedboat and coming across rattlesnakes.
Oh wow. Okay,
jealous.
so listen. Okay, so for me, as far as I'm concerned, let's see what happened with me. Nothing major. I've been like I said, based on last week's podcast. I had been rearing up to get my daughter back in school. She is officially back in school, and so that's basically what I've been working on, along with other projects and stuff like that. But for me, one of the things that I have to mention right now, because I have to acknowledge the GOAT. Yesterday was Koby Bryant Day in Los Angeles, and we are obviously still dealing and suffering from his loss. We know that it directly affected the entire city and the world, and especially here in Los Angeles. And so we wanted to just pay a little homage to him. Of course, yesterday would have been his 42nd birthday, and it was Koby Bryant Day. So shout out to Koby and where he is right now in the spirit. Hopefully it's
Can I say something a little politically incorrect about that?
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit. I really don't care about Koby. I'm just so sick of hearing about him. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he meant a lot to some people, but I didn't know him. I didn't meet the guy. I didn't care.
Did you just shit on a memorial?
Shit on him.
Jesus, Tim.
I just don't
Did you
care.
just shit on a memorial?
I mean, people have. I mean, we have celebrated him. We've had murals about him. Every newscast, every sportscast sat there and talked about this guy. It's like never once did they ever talk about. Not once. I mean, they have talked about it, but very rarely they talk about the other people that were killed in the helicopter crash. It's enough. I'm done. I'm done with it.
But the other people were not the folks that led the city and revenues and fanfare to 5 championships.
I sleep just fine.
Tim, I'm gonna save you from yourself right now. I'm gonna say
send your hate mail
because I love you.
Right.
I'm gonna move this show forward
Thank
with
you.
that
All
because
right.
you were able to speak your mind and I didn't shut you off.
All right.
But I'm gonna shut you down because I'm going to allow you to.
Can I try to give Tim a little rope?
No, he's gonna continue to hang himself though. You got to be careful.
I'll hang with him. I'll hang with him.
Thank you.
No, I'm not gonna. No, look, Koby Bryant. The reason why is because if something like that could happen to someone that's at that status and has that much going on, it touches you because that could happen to anyone. That strikes at your own mortality when someone like of that stature in the prime of his life, so multi-talented, passes. So. There was in LA, there was a bit of, when anyone famous in LA dies, there's of course a bit of a sycophantic thing going on where, you're watching the news and you're just seeing people taking selfies in front of his mural. There's murals all over. There's one right in the corner here. It's beautiful. But there was like people like, oh my God, he's like my generation and I'm just like him. It's like, no, you're not. He would have crossed you up with the basketball. Hit you on the head with it.
And I think that's what gets me upset is just enough with it. It's like, yes, okay, sad and he was a father and I feel bad for his family and everything and that's fine. But it's just after a while the media blitz about it and all the attention. It's just after a while you're like enough. You're done.
I know.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a comparable
New
York death, but sorry, go on, George.
But yesterday was his birthday, which conjures up a bit of more memorial on his behalf. We have definitely, as a city, moved beyond this. It's not as if we are still talking about it in a way. But
well, it's also 2020. It happened this year.
Of course it did. It happened 6 months ago. 5 months ago. It happened in February. So the reality is that, Tim, you're an asshole. And,
yeah.
And it's okay. I love you regardless of that. But you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And we're going to go talk about more assholes now.
Can I give Tim a little bit more rope since you just called him an a-hole? Koby Bryant's mentality helped him in almost every situation, but it didn't help him in the last one. We could do it, we could get this done. That pilot was either told that by him or that pilot knew in the back of his mind, I don't want to get in the way of this Mamba mentality. I'm going to do it for Koby. That mentality helped in every situation, but might not have helped that morning. That was the cloudiest I saw it in years out here. That was so cloudy. They flew into clouds. You can't see anything. You can't even see the top of these hotels when it's cloudy like that. And it was go, go, go. And they hit a mountain.
And that could have been Koby. That could have been an
crashed.
experienced pilot. That could have been a lot of things. But yeah, you're right. That is a possibility.
But one thing is for sure, it could have been an asshole like you, Tim. But
yeah, rest in peace. One thing's for sure. Rest in peace, Koby.
Fair enough.
Rest in peace, Koby. R.I.P. And
Moving on.
Rest in peace, Tim's Twitter life. Rest in
There
peace.
Because, wow, you're an asshole.
Okay.
I try to help you, Tim.
I know, but you can't help someone who's hanging themselves. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's talk about
Yeah.
Moving forward, we got a long show. We're going to keep it right in where we need to be, though. We're going to go into what we've been talking about. Obviously, last week we dealt with the DNC. Okay, let's just put it out there. We saw all of it. We basically they were tooting the same horn. I don't know if you guys agree. Everyone really just reiterated the same message from Hillary, Obama, Pence. I mean, not Pence. Excuse me. Biden. Thank you. Harris, and obviously Michelle. We talked about, but now we're doing.
Democrats are great at storytelling and great at
they are. They're
messaging.
great. They're the best at it because now when you look at the Republicans, they look like assholes. They're like they look aggressive. They don't look like they're on the winning side to me. They are in the White House. Why do they look like they're defending something that for me? So when I'm looking at the
RNC.
The RNC, I'm seeing a totally different vibe. What do you guys think? Did you guys watch this shit, by the way?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw some of it.
Okay, and I don't say shit because it's bad versus the Democrats, because that's shit too. But I'm just saying, did you guys watch this?
I think the Republican conventions under Trump come across as stodgy. Come across as maybe it's because no Hollywood people mess with the Republicans, but their general presentation is not like Democrats. I'm not saying the messaging is worse. What I'm saying is that in the absence of star power, they have essentially become the country music awards to the Democrats' Grammy awards, where they have their own homegrown or conservative talents, and then it's highlighted at the end by the Trump kids. And it very much feels like, regardless of if you agree or disagree with the policies, the presentation feels like, all right, I'm going to go with your Karate Kid analogy, Tim. I'm going to go with Mario Brothers 3. Trump comes across as King Koopa. The Trump kids and in-laws come across as the Koopalings that are the boss of every castle. And the rest of the Republicans are holding on and trying to ride the tightrope of, will I have a career once Trump is gone? And they come across as lesser than because they're scheduled to be lesser than. And they're scheduled time slot-wise to be lesser than. And part of the problem is Trump's self-promotion, which he can never stop doing. With that being said, I don't have that much problem with the messaging. I do like that they have a message that says, that at least puts out an alternative message of, hey, let's get that couple with the guns. We don't have to relitigate it, but let's get that couple with the guns out there to do a couple minutes. Or let's say all the reasons we think socialism is bad, and the fact that the news won't say it. Now's our time to say why that is a bad concept historically over time. So that stuff I don't have a problem with, but for all of Trump's greatness of slapping back at the far left in certain moments, without the energy of the crowd, what's left behind is these little events that sometimes, for all his talk about glossing, kind of feel rinky-dink. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I'm going to talk about that. But Tim, when you heard Trump Jr., what did you think? Did you listen to Trump Jr.?
Visually, yeah, I listened to him. Well, visually, Trump was it DJ TJ? Love that name. To me, I mean, of course, he just comes off as a used car salesman to me. But listening to the messaging, I thought actually the Republicans did a decent job of it, as far as like trying to make their point about this is who we are, this is what we stand for, this is our policies that we've initiated. I think they did it. I think there's a couple of key lines that I thought actually were pretty good, excluding Trump giving the Trump shit show and his usual affair, where he's hooray for me, and I don't understand why he's got to be on every single night, but that's because that's Trump. But as far as like the other Republicans and other people that were on there, I think they did a good job with messaging. And that was something I think Chris Christie was saying in one of his interviews, is that's what they've got to do. They've got to stay on message. They've got to sit there and show this is our policy. These are our differences between a Republican and Democrat. And here's where there's a choice. And here's what you're going to get with 4 more years of us versus 4 more years of the Democrats. And I think I think they did a good job of that. It was actually some of the lines that they were saying were actually some of the first time I've heard some of these policies that they've initiated, or some of the policies that some of the laws that they have been co-sponsors of. And I was like, okay, that was actually pretty good. They were talking about, I think it was both Senator Tim Scott and Donald Trump Jr. both mentioned the opportunity zones. And that was actually the first I heard about it. And so, of course, it made me have to go look it up. I was like, okay, what is an opportunity zone exactly? And there's actually good stuff. Like I said, it was actually it was a bipartisan bill. It was co-sponsored by Republicans and Democrats. I think it was actually championed by Cory Booker.
Tim Scott.
Yeah, Scott and Booker, yeah. So,
okay.
But it actually lost favor with the Democrats because they wanted more transparency in some of these, because it's a tax deduction, not a deduction, but it's a way to hide capital gains tax. And if you invest in inner city areas, if you invest in areas that aren't typically invested in, you basically defer some of your capital gains tax, which is a good thing. But it's in the transparency which could apply some corruption later on down the road. And I think that was what Cory Booker wanted, which is more transparency and what kinds of funds are in these things, where they were going, who are the donors, what kind of money, stuff like that. And I think that's where there's a disagreement on it. But I think the plan has only been around for a couple of years. It hasn't been around that long, so it's still kind of early to see whether it's successful or not. During the convention, they were really pushing it, saying, "Oh, we have, because of this plan, we've lifted up the inner city, we've lifted up African Americans," because they were trying to bring them to the party. They were trying to say, "Hey, look, we may not be as glitzy and glamorous as the Democrats in our presentation, but hey, here, look at us, look at what we've done. We've done stuff behind the scenes. We are the silent majority. Come over here at our side." So I think they did a good job, and if they can stay on that message, I think they'll actually do a better job of getting votes.
It's kind of an interesting story. From what I understand, once Trump was putting his foot in his mouth with the Charlottesville stuff, or if he was misinterpreted or not or whatever, I think he basically met with Tim Scott and said, like, what do I do to make this right? Do you have any advice? And Tim Scott was ready with a plan. He goes, here, we could do boom, 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 boom. That's the story I heard. And that's kind of like a cool way to take advantage of an opportunity that is that's not in a bad way.
Right.
Like you hear those stories about Lyndon Johnson and the civil rights movement, and this was the right time to strike. So yeah, the president always gets the credit for this at the end of the day, but there are people that are waiting with policies and waiting for the right moment to spring them.
Exactly.
And seems like it might have been working for a little while until the virus happened, unfortunately.
Right. And that was the big thing. Or I should say, making themselves a victim here when it comes to their success, and looking at, if the China plague, as president would call it, wouldn't have happened, we would be in a different place. And it's interesting to me how when you look at all of the campaigning that both the Republicans and the Democrats have been doing on each side, it's funny how they interpret this coronavirus differently. It's like the message of it is, we did what we had to do. We got,
Yeah.
Trump said every person that needed a ventilator had one. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Hard to track all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you interview everyone.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay. But then by that same token, when you listen to the Democrats, they say he was ill prepared. He didn't take it seriously. He didn't respond fast enough. And because of that, we are where we are. Versus it's being on the Republican side, it was something that we could not avoid because it came from here, and we did our best to mobilize this thing, and we're continuing to do our best. It's like
yeah, two different worlds that we live in. It's the other thing is that Democrats or liberals, whatever you want to call them, look internally, and conservatives tend to look out externally towards threats. It's why Republicans are known as being better at foreign policy, and Democrats are better at domestic policy.
Right, that's traditionally. You're right. But when we're talking about the presidency of the United States, especially now, no one is really caring what the people over in other countries are doing. The focus now in this election is solely on America. It's solely on the things that are happening with the issues that are affecting us as the American people, whether it be our economics, whether it be our social, whether it be the coronavirus. It's all about how we are responding to our needs right now.
Well, the Republicans are making an external argument. They're saying that a communist country has messed up because of their secrecy. That's the nicest way they're putting it. They are putting it a lot worse as well. And because of that, we've got a crisis on our shores, and it doesn't make sense to go in a socialist direction towards what is left-wing authoritarianism, because that was the root of the problem in the first place. Now, will that message connect due to the fact that people only care about what's in their day-to-day life? Maybe not. It might be hitting deaf ears due to the immediate crisis of just getting the Band-Aids on ourselves for the moment.
And I think so. I mean, Congress is still debating this whole COVID thing in regards to the next stimulus package. What the fuck? People are not getting these dollars, and businesses are, as they are moving into and out of each phase, are looking for help to get to the next phase. It's okay, fine. We're getting to phase 4 here. We are one bullet point away from being able to move in Los Angeles County to phase 4, which is the percentage of, I think it's 10,000 per capita deaths in county. And I think we're only one bullet point away from moving to phase 4. But as we move to phase 4, then how do we then transition financially to these next phases?
I'm just wondering which phase it is where I don't have to check the weather report when I'm thinking of going to a restaurant.
Because you got to go and sit outside.
Yeah, sorry, I'm being selfish.
Yeah, because you got to go sit outside.
Chris,
that's what people only care about themselves. So yeah, I'm being an asshole.
But Tim, can Biden win?
Absolutely.
Can Biden beat Trump right now?
Absolutely, but here's the thing. I think Chris brought it up last week. Is that the polls are close, or the polls are the polls are they're closing in. It was like a 12-point lead or something like that. I think now it's down to 8. So they're kind of closing in. So it's gonna be really interesting come election time. But yeah, there's definitely a path for him to win. I think what they have to do is push. I think definitely go push the COVID thing. I think that's more than anything. That's their best path to success. Not once during the campaign or during the RNC convention did they even mention how many deaths have been from COVID. They just pass the blame. And so there's if they keep hitting them on that, I think that's where they got the best shot of winning. I think last night one of the things they tried to hit Biden on was his record, because he's been in Congress or been in Washington for so long. So they kind of said, oh, he's been around for 40 years or whatever. He's got this right, and of course they brought up his crime bill, which he's gotten so much shit for that over the years. But so I think I think they did a good job of trying to hit that, where it's like, okay, talk about policy, talk about where what he's done right and what he's done wrong. And they actually did admit during I think it was Trump Jr. actually did admit that what's happening with the police as far as police brutality and as far as the murders of George Floyd, that was wrong. And then ask any cop, that's wrong. And then he pivoted on that and said, okay, but on the same note, cops are our heroes and we still need to support them. And of course he brought up of course he made a nice little line about nobody wants to pick up 911 and go to voicemail. So I mean with that they got their lines in, but they presented it professionally. So they do have to watch out. I think if Trump can actually, listen to his party and actually listen to people who understand politics and understand how to run, instead of him, because it's not 2016. It is not 2016. He's not running against shitty Hillary anymore. He's running against somebody who's actually, considered a moderate. So he's got it. I think it's going to be an interesting run.
And his attack on Sleepy Joe was he woke up. He wasn't that sleepy when I don't know if it was pre-recorded. I don't know if they hopped him up on something, but he was awake.
Yeah.
Joe Biden was awake on his speech.
Yeah,
that attack fails when he wakes up. When he puts it on, he seems okay. He doesn't always put it on, but in a pivotal moment, he did seem okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same with Trump. I mean, Trump when he reads off the teleprompter, I mean, he's reading off the teleprompter, but when he sticks to the script, he's actually pretty good. He knows how to play politics. He knows how to sit there and work aside. He does. It's when he goes off script and he starts, yelling and criticizing people and making fun of them and going off on a Twitter tirade. That's when he gets in trouble, and that's when all shit breaks loose, and he doesn't know how to act presidential. So if he can actually act presidential during this last run, he's got a shot.
He doesn't know how to be presidential.
No.
He doesn't stop it with presidential. He'll never be presidential. But what he did do, which I think obviously history will set him aside for this, he said, basically F the virtual thing. He dropped into North Carolina and did a face-to-face with pollers, reporters, and I think that was basically a middle finger to that whole to the whole virtual RNC, DNC, all of that stuff, and that spoke volumes. The fact that he said, "I'm going to go down there and talk to the people directly," and they. Because that's what he needs. It goes back to what Chris says. He needs a crowd. His ego and his message needs a call and response. He needs to be able to feed off of people. And when he can't, he looks weak. So it's not surprising that he would just drop in, unexpectedly and give a ad hoc speech with no prompter and just basically, of course, toot his own horn and repeat the same things over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what you think of Trump, he has more guts than any politician on either side of the aisle because they are worried about their political future and he's not. And I think all politicians have that a little bit because, like, when I was watching Tim Scott's speech, he seemed to be like kind of rushing through it, and I was like, why is he talking with a weird cadence? And then I realized there's no crowd there. There's no one to vibe off of. This is so foreign. And with Trump, not only does he need that for public speaking skills, but he needs that for his general energy level. Like, that powers him. That's his life meter.
Yeah. He feeds off of it. And again, it goes back to that whole pet Riley mentality. He loves the rallies. He's the poster boy for rallies. Even when you're not supposed to have a rally, he's having a rally. And love
him or hate him, he's good at it. So
I don't know if he's good at it. I don't know if he's good at rallies. I think he's good at feeding people.
Right.
I think he's good off doing that. But as far as the message and content from these rallies, I'm not too sure that he says anything.
But he does a lot of comedy. And I love Dave Chappelle, and Dave Chappelle never joked his way into the White House. Like, Trump has trolled and joked his way into the most pivotal, powerful position on earth.
Right.
From a stand-up comedy standpoint.
Oh, he said a line.
The best job of all time. That is the most impressive thing that a stand-up has ever done.
Oh yeah, he said a line last night. It's the first time I've heard it, and I guess Chris has heard it before. I don't know if he invented it or what, but when he called MSNBC MSDNC, I was dying. I was like, okay, I don't agree. Well, I do agree with that. It's actually funny. I don't love Trump in any way, shape, or form, but in that one regard, it's like, okay, that was funny. He gets some good one-liners in, and I'll give him props for that.
As much as people want to erase Trump and think that Biden getting elected you'll never be able to erase the fact that he won.
Yeah,
he won that election with putting almost no money forward, by acting a fool.
Yeah.
Somehow surviving that tape, that Access Hollywood tape. I don't know if that's a tribute to how good he is or how much people hate Hillary Clinton.
Right.
But forever, he shocked the world. He shocked the world. That moment will never go away.
He definitely changed politics, and I was kind of wondering about that. It's like, how do you run How do you run a traditional campaign after that? I think anybody moving forward, any politician now after Trump, any Republican or Democrat after this next election, how do you top that? Because he basically he bullied himself to the nomination. He sat there. He got all this free media because he would sit there and say these outrageous things, which was brilliant. So I think people are going to start. I think you're going to see more Trumps coming out.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to totally get rid of them.
I don't.
Yeah,
think
I mean.
So.
Look at what happened to Marco Rubio. Some of these guys try to act like Trump, and it failed miserably. So there might just have to be a different breed of people that comes and replaces, if that's the trend.
I don't think so. I think that this is going to be one of those situations in history, and I think that people are going to respond, and they're going to go back to business as usual. It's the same argument when they say we're going to see another black president. Nah, I don't think so. I think it's going to go right back to business as usual. And this is going to be something that we're going to look at in history and say, well, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And we're going to learn from it. But
it's too bad Liz Warren didn't go. We could have got a Native American president this time, but unfortunately, no.
Well, we're
gonna keep waiting.
You got to keep waiting, man. The glass ceiling. All right. Well, you know what? So as Trump is making these bold COVID moves by not doing the vote, by not doing the whole virtual speech like he did in North Carolina, he decided that he was going to break these rules and hit the ground running. I think there's also been some great things in regards to the COVID. No one has found a cure for this thing yet, but so we're still in it. And so because we're still in it, we got to continue to talk about it. But one thing happened last week that I thought was pivotal. The theaters, AMC theaters, decided that they were going to reopen, starting with 100 theaters. And I guess the bigger question is would you go to a theater right now, considering the fact that it would be? Is it too soon, or are we rearing up for something that we're going to regret? What do you guys think about these theaters open? And of course, for 15 cents, they started with 15 cents. You could get in a theater for 15 cents. What do you guys think about this?
Well, since it is a depression era, might as well cost that much. Like I said in the beginning, there were times where I would have loved to gone to an indoor refrigerated environment in the last week of being outdoors all the time. However, would I do it if I could? I don't know.
You wouldn't go to the movie. You don't know if you'll go to the movies at this point.
Maybe if I got an N95 mask, I'd go in there. But with my little cloth ripped up T-shirt mask that I made, I don't know if I would.
You got to admit, it's a little bold. Of course, for us, obviously have worked in entertainment. Where is this going to go, and how fast is what my concern is, and the motivation. I know Labor Day is around the corner, and I know that opening the economy is important, and I also realize that in business, having been an entrepreneur, and I know how business works, you want to kind of get people a little time to feel comfortable so that when Labor Day comes, they'll be out there spending their money at whatever cost, whether it be their health, but they're going to have an excuse because things are going to be open. And I believe that this could be a part of that Labor Day thrust and open. I could be wrong, but I can see the writing on the wall when I see the timing of this, and that is a little concerning to me. But I'm excited about it, and you know, I think it's a good thing that we're moving forward. This fear-based idea that we have to, you know, stay inside is I admit is getting very old and tiresome, but we have to still be extremely careful, extremely careful, and more importantly, what movies are they going to show?
Some of them are showing old movies for the time being.
Oh, they're showing old movies. Okay, because I know Tenet, right? That's coming. I don't know if that's going to be in there.
I think that's getting released in just in certain markets that are open,
in
like
certain
Korea,
markets.
In certain markets, like Korea and what have you.
It's not going to be introduced here domestically, then.
I think at some point, I'm sure. It's still. I know that Christopher Nolan is a big theatrical fan.
Draw.
Yeah, I'm sure he does not want his stuff on the VOD right away. He wants. I mean, he shot the thing in IMAX. He wants to see it in IMAX. So I think that's the way he intends it to be seen. So I think that's definitely going to be staying in the theaters until one way, shape, form, or another.
Right.
But I mean, full disclosure on me, it's like, I mean, I work in the entertainment industry. I won't say where, but for those of you that know, yeah, Pornhub, exactly. So I mean, my financial well-being is tied to ratings in the box office and the entertainment. So of course, I want to see it recover. I want to see people back in the theater more than anything. I would love to go back to work, for my full 40 hours a week. So yeah, I'm totally motivated to see people do it. So yes, I have something of a bias about that, but also want to see people go in and be safe about it. And so, I was sitting there looking up, like, what are theaters doing? They're doing stuff like, obviously having spacing out patrons. They're limiting capacity. They're changing the way, I guess, how they're accepting cash and payments. They're limiting the amount of cash payments and mostly accepting credit cards. They're changing the way they're doing concessions, just trying to, limit as much of the spread of the virus as possible, which is great. And I think it all has value as far as being able to open up. I think there is how do I describe this? You can only be cooped up in the house for so long. I mean, I think one of the things that was great for me was being able to go back to work. I'm back to work 4 days a week in the office. And for me, that's great because it gets me out of the house. It's, I can spend time away and then have a little quality time with the family because, I'm sorry, I was having a conversation with a coworker about this the other day. You're only meant to spend so much time with people at any one particular stretch of time. So I think being able to get out of the house and being able to have some sense of normalcy, it has value. It has a psychological value. Absolutely. But yeah, we all have to do it carefully. We all have to do things, moderation. I know me and Chris are both pretty big bike riders during the lockdown. And, for me, it was, when I was traveling down to places like more touristy areas like Hermosa Beach, when I would see the restaurants just packed with people, not wearing masks, nobody socially distancing at all, I just said, okay, bye, leaving, turn around, go back. So I think everyone's going to have their tolerance. I think they are. But also getting back to the economic aspect of it, I think companies don't have a choice. I think they have to reopen because the government is not going to provide any more, is not providing any more stimulus. They're not providing any more assistance. So it's either open up or go out of business. So they've got to do something. So, and it's like, I think even if the government was going to do something or try to provide any kind of assistance, I mean, how do you provide for trillions of dollars worth of employment and benefits and salaries? You can't, so you can't, not for an extended period of time. So, otherwise
when the rules become, sorry, go ahead. When the rules become unjust, it becomes just to break the rules. And the governments don't want a revolt on their hand. If they see enough pressure from business or enough pressure from this group or that group, and they want to stay in charge, they want to keep the voters happy too. So they're going to bend regardless of if it's time or not. They're going to bend to whatever the current pressures of that week or two are.
Right. But, one studio has actually gone into production, rap production, in this business. Tyler Perry Studios down in Atlanta did something that was unprecedented. He actually completed a whole season of a show, over 300 people. They made great concessions in order to get it done, from bringing the whole cast and crew down in private planes to building on his property, living. They did checks every 4 days. They obviously did the social distancing. He got with the city, he got with the state and the federal government to come up with the guidelines. Needless to say, it was a tremendous amount of money, but at the end of the day, he got it done with no one testing positive.
That's great.
So it can be done. It can be done, and I think Tyler Perry's Entertainment Man of the Year. I'm going to call it, because he took the risk, and on top of that, he paid all the salaries. I mean, people actually earned some money in this business during this time, and I don't know if the other studios will be willing to even consider at this point putting that kind of financial backing into a project that they would green light right now. But that's the COVID though. That's what the COVID has given us. And speaking of going out of business, because Tim, you said, nobody wants to start business or go out of business. Here in California, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but Uber and Lyft are considering leaving California.
They won't.
They're considering shutting down. They're considering saying, we'll take our jobs elsewhere. And
because of that law?
Because the state, and I've been saying this for over 25 years since I started my first business. You bring businesses to California to die. Literally. If you are a business owner, why do you think Northrop left? Why do you think all of these technology companies are putting? Why do you think the entertainment business has left? They're filming all over the world now instead of filming here in studios because of the taxes, the laws that make it more difficult for people to do business in this state. It's hard in California to have a business. And now what the state wants is for all drivers who have already agreed that they would be independent contractors. The state is saying now, because they want those, they want that income tax. They want the employee tax. They want all that tax money in every paycheck with all of these particular drivers. And so they're saying either make them full-time employees or shut down.
Yeah, sweeping decisions have sweeping repercussions.
Yep. And so Uber threatened. Lyft said that they were going to do it already. Uber threatened, and because of the pushback, they have since decided that they were going to wait to make the decision. The state, because of the pushback of these folks. The people who are actually driving Ubers and Lyft understand their situation. They are where now. I'm not minimizing, of course, those folks who drive Ubers and Lyft who want these benefits, but I get it. I mean, if you're working full time, you deserve a certain amount of compensation when it comes to certain things. But when you think about it as an industry, an entire industry, California will set the precedence for the rest. So if California does it, then what do you think the other states are going to do?
In this climate, I'm not sure, because their loss would be. I guess I'm not sure if this sort of an industry would be someone else's gain.
The taxes. I mean, the taxi business. They can't. They're hoping.
Right, but it's not like someone's gonna go. You know what? I was gonna take a taxi from LAX to Hollywood, but you know what? I'll just go to Phoenix because they have Lyft there. I'm not sure how that would. I'm not Sorry if I'm saying this wrong, but I'm not sure what the benefits to the other states would be, and I'm not sure why they would want to follow suit in this regard. Me personally, I'm not taking one due to COVID, but
I took one recently.
Yeah.
I took a Lyft recently.
Did?
Yeah.
What was it? Were you nervous? Did you roll the windows down?
Didn't even think about it. Just just wash my hands or whatever after I got done, and I need a Lyft back because my I was doing something. I was away from my car or whatever. I need a Lyft. So I was like, screw it, it's better than walking. So, but and the thing is, I don't think I even thought about it till after the fact. It didn't really bother me. It's like, I think as long I was wearing a mask, he was wearing a mask, and as long as you use common sense, I think you're fine. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just a little more brave about it. But it didn't bother me.
I took an Uber to the airport recently, and it was either that or take the shuttle, or take the train, or take the flyaway. You see where I'm going with this?
Right.
Or take the flyaway, or take the bus.
I take a Lyft over. I take the bus.
So that's my whole point. I coming back from I was on my way out of the state, and I had to get to the airport. I didn't want to, and I was going for a substantial amount of time, and I didn't want my car to be sitting there, and when I got back, it'd be $300 in parking. So I took an Uber. Just like what Tim said, I masked up. He had a mask on. As a matter of fact, he had fiberglass between me and him in the car.
Nice.
Yeah, so that made me feel even more comfortable.
I was just happy with my driver because he didn't want to do a lot of chit chatting. That was actually the first time I've had that. Usually the Lyft and Uber drivers all want to sit there and chat up and say, "Where are you from? What do you do?" I don't know. Sometimes I'm in the mood for that, and other times not so much.
If you want 5 stars now, you mask up and shut up.
Right.
I guess it's a tricky balance, right? Because look what happened with AOC in Queens, that she pushed back against Amazon and then they left. Well, people are pissed now that there's no jobs there, but look at the way Amazon treats its workers. So I understand both sides of the argument.
Right.
Like at a certain point, if you just capitulate, like look, Elon Musk called California's bluff and he stayed. He threatened to leave and he got what he wanted out of them. But if it goes the other way, if the cities or the states start giving these corporations, one thing that's happened during COVID is that the corporations have just gotten bigger. They're reopening, or they had the money to float, or they had the money to lay off people so they could stay alive. But small businesses aren't. And I guess the concern here is that, I guess it's not a concern for Lyft, but just in general, my concern is that there's going to be all sorts of little businesses that weren't previously corporate that now are. Little things that are in your neighborhood that maybe there was one corporate place on the corner, but a bunch of little independent businesses in between. Well, some of those things might start turning corporate.
That's right. And
things that we never imagined.
And they should. I would encourage them that they should, because at least they'll have the protection. No one thought in a million years that if you had a DBA, or doing business name as, which is usually a sole proprietor or partnership business, that you would be under these kinds of strains with business. But if you had a corporation, then it would be more easy for you to get these dollars that are floating around because of the COVID. And whether it be the loans to get you going, or to keep you sustained while these things are down, or it would be something that you had to understand that I didn't know. I didn't know that I could do this.
Right.
I didn't know that I could change my business from an a DBA to an LLC and get $150,000 in loans, because instead, what I do instead? I shut my business down. Because I don't know how the paperwork works. So I don't know how, because my local congressperson or whomever who's supposed to disseminate this information about my business to help my business is not giving me the information for me to stay, because I'm a small business. I have 2 employees. I have 5 employees, or my wife or my daughter or my son or whatever. That person is going to suffer and has suffered during this time, while AMC's and Nordstrom's and all these other businesses have somehow survived selling 10% of their product. How?
And taking money from the government that was supposed to be meant for small businesses. They're taking that money that, you know, these are large businesses taking this money because they had the resources, or they were structured a certain way, they were able to qualify for it. So yeah, and I mean, the other thing too about this law, it's not just targeting Uber and Lyft. It's targeting any company that hires independent contractors. It's basically just trying to redefine what an independent contractor is.
But why they're doing that? I'm telling you, it's not. I'm telling you, it's for the tax dollars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks around here who have learned how to, whether you like it or not, get around paying all of these exorbitant taxes that the state requires of employees. You know, and they're finding ways around it. But you know, I understand that we have to support the state. You can't kill the goose that lays the golden egg.
Right.
You can't do it. It's what supplies you what you need. And I get it. And I believe in supporting government. I believe in taxes. If we don't pay taxes, then we won't be able to support. But there's something about being overtaxed that I have an issue with. Right. And that is what California does. It overtaxes businesses. It overtaxes employees. For $1 you make, you're getting taxed 30% of that, whether it be through sales tax, whether it be through income tax, whether it be gas tax and fees. Whether that same dollar you make, that's right. $1 you make, you're getting taxed 30, and then you have property tax if you own a home. You have, you have renters insurance. I mean, you have all of these things that comes out of that $1. So essentially what you're taking home after you get taxed and feed, depending on what county, city, and state that you live in California, then you may be bringing home 30 cents of that $1 at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
30 cents. So that's my issue with California. And believe me, I love this state, you know, and I understand, and I'm learning how to maneuver around it, but it's these kinds of laws that makes it difficult for small businesses to survive in this state.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know.
And that is my rant of the week.
Oh, that was the rant.
Oh, stole the rant.
Hey, guys, we got to continue this discussion. We got to continue this discussion. It was a great discussion, man. And what we're looking at right now is a lot that's going on. And I do appreciate you guys showing up, of course, and showing out. You know, right now, of course, do you have any shout outs before we get out of here, guys? What do you think? You guys, what shout outs do you have for today?
Well, I'd like to shout out the guy on the Venice boardwalk the other day that was on one knee muttering to himself when holding a chainsaw over his shoulder. Thanks for continuing to make this neighborhood a better and better place week by week.
Shout out to the dude sit on the boardwalk with a chainsaw?
With a chainsaw.
Only on.
Wasn't plugged in, but neither was he.
Touche. What about you, Tim?
Oh, shout out. How about shout out to our fans, people that are watching us. Shout out to anybody who wants to give a comment or ask us a question. We'll be sure to answer it on next week's podcast. So, you know, if you got a question for any of us, want to know more about us, please, you know, put your comments below. You know, let us know what you think. Are we doing a good job? Do I smile too much? What do you think of my audio this week? You know, am I an asshole? You know, things like that. We want to know. We want to know your opinion. Let us know.
Well, we already know one answer to that. Well, yes, yeah. You are an asshole.
Yes.
And yes, your microphone has sucked. So we already got Koby. But listen, you guys, I want to obviously say thank you guys for showing up. And for those listeners who are listening for the first time, make sure you subscribe. Make sure also too that you listen to the other podcasts that we've had. This is episode 6. For those of you guys who continue to listen, come back next week. We appreciate you, and of course, like I said before, we're going to have some things in the future for you guys. But keep listening, and we are out of here for this week, episode 6. You guys, thank you so much.
Woo!
American Lunchbox Podcast.